Welcome to Cosmic Comics, Games and Collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Cosmic Comic, Games and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
Hi everyone, Jason Hunt here, inviting you to join us every Saturday morning for news, the week's headlines in science fiction, fantasy, horror, comic books, video games, plus Comic-Con updates and the weather, and the occasional interview along the way. We call it Good Morning Multiverse. We hope you join us every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 Central, right here on Sci-Fi for Me TV.
We've crossed paths more than once. I've whispered in your ear, shown you harmless little temptations. I am unknowable, yet you know me intimately. But you can always know me better. Collected here are 20 twisted tales that will thrill, chill, incite, and delight you from some of the most imaginative minds your species has to offer. This exclusive Indiegogo printing of The Devil You Know Better will be limited and numbered, with signatures from Mike Barron and Hart D. Fisher. Stretch goals achieved for this campaign will add interior chapter illustrations by Stefano Cardacelli. The Devil You Know Better. Back it on Indiegogo today, while you still can.
From the makers of Arachna
And good evening, everybody. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at CriticalBlast.com, Chief Envelope Licker for Critical Blast Logistics, myopic proofreader for Critical Blast Publishing, and I will answer the phones and assist you with all your data needs that arise from collecting information from your crowdfunders through Critical Blast Consulting. Tonight, it's been a little while since I've been behind the mic and actually running the show and talking about comics, which is 55 years and running, still my favorite, most topic in all the universe. So let's get right to it. Please welcome with me to show AI, RJ AI, not a damn name between us. I got all the consonants, you got all the vowels. So
sounds good to me.
Welcome to the show, sir. How you doing tonight, man?
Pretty good. Can't complain.
Well, we had talked. I'm gonna throw this up here for just a little bit, just to make the background a little bit more interesting. We had talked a year ago when you were just doing Arachna.
Yep.
And I've got it. I've read it. How did that play out for you guys? I mean, obviously enough to continue on, but was it, did it meet your expectations?
Yeah, I felt like it exceeded expectations. So, when you worked as long as we had on this book, it's one thing where you think about, it's like one thing putting it together, another thing once you get it and you read it and you see how everything flows within the book itself. So when I first got that book, Carlos, the artist, was over here for New York Comic Con, and we met up in New York and we looked through it, and it just felt fantastic. Like the paper felt good. Looking through the book was great. I've reread it a few times. It's a very quick read, and by quick read I don't mean it's there's not enough words. It's a very like fast-paced book. So I'd be curious to see what your thoughts on it were, but I was extremely happy with that book.
Well, I think you put a lot of production work into a flagship title that a lot of people either try to do and then fail because it is their first book and nobody knows about it. You see these first issue campaigns from people and they're like, hey, get our t-shirt, hey, get our poster. And I'm like, nobody knows your character yet to want to go and be a walking billboard for you. Yeah. But that wasn't a problem for you guys. I mean, I don't know if you had t-shirts or not, but you did have a lot of different add-ons.
We had posters, we had t-shirts, we had a number of different things. And I wanted to kind of go all in on the first campaign. I saved up for it for a long time, and I'm in marketing. That's my day job. In marketing, people don't care if you got $10 or if you got $200 million. They're going to compare you. You're going to be compared if you're in a certain genre. So our comparisons were, the mainstream books and stuff like that. I would put that book against any book in the any book from corporate or indie or whatever, and I'll be more than happy with it. So I think it, the artwork, the coloring, lettering, everything, and then the paper is just like, paper is kind of like an end result of these things because you already put everything together. But the paper is like top notch in that book as well. So it's like people don't care if you are coming from nowhere or you got like multi-million dollars backing on the projects you're doing. But I would again, like, the thing is, you're going to put it up against other books, and there should be like no difference, or the quality should be better, whatever. So people again come in from, they don't care what budget you are working with or weren't working with.
Right. There wasn't a whole lot that I could compare Arachna with. I mean, usually when somebody comes out with a new superhero, you're like, oh, it's kind of like this meets this with a little bit of that. The only thing I would ever say that I could compare Arachna with was a very obscure super character from DC called Rose and Thorn, which was, this average, everyday, mild-mannered woman. But, when she went to bed at night, she'd get up and sleepwalk and be this badass crime fighter with an alternate personality.
I went to art school, and one thing that I felt like they didn't really teach you was how to be to be unique. And so art school sometimes is just about technique. How do you keep getting better at painting or drawing or whatever you're going to school for. What it doesn't teach you is like everybody is like an individual, right? So there's nobody like you, RJ, in the world, right? There's nobody like me.
I hope not.
And what you do is you take all the experiences that you had and you put it into whatever project you're working on. So I never read Rose and Thorn. What this was to me was reading the 60s Spider-Man with Ditko and Lee. It was Peter Parker's. I haven't read mainstream comics in a long time, but I stopped reading them a while back. But Peter Parker in the beginning was a huge kind of nerdy type of person, where he just was socially awkward, where he couldn't even talk to people. And then he got into that Spider-Man outfit and it's just like a completely different person. So that's kind of where the origins came from, that it was like, what was this split personality, where this one personality is very kind of timid and shy and non-combative, and the other personality, once she puts on the costume, becomes like this very alpha type personality. And if they don't know what they're doing, but if Jenny's reading clippings on what Arachna's doing, she would be like pretty offended by like what she's doing. So they don't get along in terms of like what the personalities do. So
but they know about each other.
Yeah, like that to me was like very interesting, to kind of explore that more. So we kind of went on with other things to me, I used to made this a point everywhere I've been, is I was a big fan of the Batman 66 Adam West show. And one of the things I liked about it was the peril piece, where at the end of the first episode, they'd be like in some sort of a peril where you're like, holy shit, how are they going to get out of this? It keeps you interested. I don't know how they were aired. I think they were aired twice a week back in the 60s, but like you'd be like really kind of hooked in terms of like, oh, how is this going to happen? This was also serials in the past also. A lot of things like George Lucas, Spielberg were, really inspired by, ended up making Raiders of the Lost Ark as the same kind of thing, where it was, Indiana Jones getting in a lot of trouble. And then, how does he get out of it? Is like that part of it is really interesting to me. So all these things were I'm just mentioning. Last time I was on the show, I mentioned how much I love the movie Remo Williams, and unfortunately, Fred Ward passed away this year.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, and there's so in Arachna 2 we get more into so there's a character we introduced called Chun, which is not Chun, Jiho, but it's kind of like inspired by Chun, but. I was watching that movie recently again. I was thinking like how that character would like come off with today's audiences, and we just kind of kept that like that aspect of a character, and the way he speaks to Arachna is kind of like very kind of like old school and stuff. So I wanted to kind of work on that dynamic of it too.
Chun was an equal opportunity sexist and racist.
Yeah, and I like. What I can't stand about these corporate books today, I keep calling them corporate books because that's what they are, is they're so watered down, and the entertainment value is zero, because I think either they're pushing ideologies or they're afraid to do anything because they don't want to get canceled or whatever the hell it is. But, yeah, that's a good word. But there's no bite in any of the stuff that's being created, and that's why I lost interest in it a long time ago. But so yeah, we're gonna kind of keep pushing the envelope with these things, and the cool thing about crowdfunding is, listen, if you don't like it, you don't have to support it. Exactly. And unlike these mega corporations, we don't have money coming from wherever that we can put out these shit books and that aren't selling or doing anything, but they got so much money from AT&T or Disney to kind of just protect the IPs. We need fans, we need customers, and one thing I'll say is that I didn't just want to make a comic book company. It's also a customer service company. So if you look at our crowdfunding campaigns, we get back to people right away. There's no, I've seen some campaigns where the creators are yelling at the people when they don't deliver something.
That's never a good look.
It's just sickening because they're giving you their money, and it's hard-earned money, and this is the way you thank them after you're late. Like, I've seen books that are 2 years late. Like, I mean, it's just unbelievable to me. Like, we were a first-time publisher and we got our books out on time, and I've seen these people that work in the industry that can't get their books out 2 years after the fact, and people are like wondering where are these books, and it's unbelievable.
And it wasn't a rushed book. This was a quality book with quality art. The cover art was, I can't recall who your cover artist was, but it was very hyper realistic painted stuff. You had some alternate covers. You had a cosplayer who was doing personalized video for backers in costume. I thought that was a great thing. I want to address the chat real quick here just to acknowledge that Mike Walters is here, has liked and shared the stream. Appreciate it. Missed the stream last night with you guys, popped in for a little bit, but I did have other private conversations I had to have about the other business we do for shipping people's comics. Woody, good to see you out there too, my friend. Glad that I was the same with you. Batman was in reruns when I was in kindergarten in 1972, but it was definitely formative for my love of comics at that time. I mentioned that you had a cosplayer for the Arachna character, and as I went down the tiers for Goshawk and Falconet, and we're going to show that here in just a second, I was anticipating that there would be a cosplayer for Falconet, because I was like, oh yeah, this is a printed costume, and you're going to send it to Kara Nicole, and she's going to do a cosplay cover because she's one of the go-to blondes for these kind of cosplay things. No cosplayer this time around.
No, we wanted to. I wasn't sure how this campaign would do, because it's new characters. I'd also need to get two people, one for Goshawk and one for Falconet, and then also their wings would be a nightmare to try to cosplay and stuff. So I think what I'll eventually end up doing is getting people hired for those. They won't be in wing format, but they will be in their outfits. So I think that's something that's coming down the road. But I just wanted to see how well this campaign would do.
For a cover, you do what like Sophia Florin does. I mean, she's not really flying beside that jet when she's Captain Marvel. It's all photoshopped in, so the special effects get kind of added to the picture after that.
Yeah, no, I think my thing was that if we start doing conventions, that we would need somebody there in person. So I'm thinking about doing New York Comic Con. I'm not sure at this point, but that would be that would be where my kind of concern was. Yeah, it's no problem doing some sort of a Photoshop deal. That's pretty easy to do, but. Yeah, I think it was the challenge of hiring two people, and then it's not easy to find these people either. I know it might seem like there's a lot of actors looking for work, but when I do look for these roles or positions, you'd be surprised, man, like how flaky people can be. Where, oh yeah, I'm really interested, and then you say, okay, well, can you put in a can you do a reading for us? And yeah, sure. And then they never show up. And it's that's the majority of it. And it gets really annoying. I really want to create good comics. And I think that's the end goal here. But I think one of the things I haven't done well is really grow the YouTube thing. But I just I have a full-time job, then I'm doing this nights and weekends. And then I have another business that I work on. So it's difficult to find time to do that, but
I can relate.
Yeah. So I'm trying to work something out with somebody who would be kind of like a hostess for the thing and for the channel, and just kind of put out content regularly. But that's something I think I'm missing out on a huge part of kind of branding is YouTube, not just having a YouTube channel, but just consistently updating a YouTube channel and building that out. So I haven't had a chance to do it.
All right, well, let's take a look at the campaign as it is right now, because you're doing, you've done very well with it. I mean, this had a $2,500 goal. It's got 9 days left, and you're at $10,000.
Yeah.
So, almost 500% of the original goal. You've got to be happy with that.
Yeah. We're actually doing 2 campaigns. We're doing one for Indiegogo, and we're doing one for Kickstarter. So between the 2 of them, it's I think close to 18 at this point. So that's good. We still got a long way to go, and run these campaigns is super stressful also, because you're looking at daily numbers, and the way they kind of run, or they have with like Arachna 1 and 2, is there's kind of like the beginning couple of days where you get a lot of people, and then the end where you get a lot of people, and that kind of middle of 20-25 days is kind of like very low. So we're trying to get that number higher, but yeah, it's doing good so far. I don't have any kind of like preconceived notions on how these campaigns are going to do. Once they're done, I kind of just do a like a dissection of them and see what worked well, what didn't. But so far so good. This is, to me, this is a long-term plan for me. So I'm not expecting to make huge profits off these things. It's just we're building out a universe, and we're in year 1 of it. So we got a long way to go.
Yeah, I just realized that you're running these campaigns in parallel.
Yeah, I wanted to actually launch them together. Kickstarter launched 2 weeks after the Indiegogo campaign. Kickstarter has this approval thing, which I couldn't get the campaign ready during the time. But then when I went through it and submitted for approval, it just got approved right away. So it didn't matter if it was, I thought it was going to be like a week or something before they approve it. But anyway, this one is 2 weeks after the Indiegogo. They're essentially the same campaigns. There's a couple, there's a couple of Indiegogo exclusives, and there's a couple of Kickstarter exclusives.
That's what I was going to ask. What did I not get by going the Indiegogo route? Because that's where I backed.
The first 100 backers, the cards are different. One is where it's like that kind of Janet Jackson option.
I know the one you speak of.
The boobs out option.
Yeah. This has naughty and nice versions in it, and just for those who are curious for that kind of thing, or cautious for that kind of thing, it's not just the covers. I mean, there is some interior nudity that you get blocked out on a campaign that will be in this book. So it is a mature title in some regards.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I just want to make that clear that these all these books are mature titles. They're not for kids.
Yeah, that's which means that all of us immature adults are the ones who are going. Yeah, and here we go, right here, right there. We're the ones who are buying this thing up. And Chris over at Hero Shack, you're right. That it is a very sweet looking project, which is why when I saw 9 days left on Indiegogo, I'm like, well, I got to get in on this now. And I was not one of the first 100 physical backers. I'm sure somewhere around 200.
There is a secret stretch goal for the first 200, so you can still get on. And 200 physical backers, not digital backers.
Right, and I thought, well, maybe there's 100 digital backers, but there wasn't. I did the math, subtract them out. So there.
Actually, I'll put it in for you. Just write me a note.
Yeah, that's what I do. I put these subliminal suggestions out on live streams. I find this interesting that there are characters who can fly. Well, we got motorcycles. Mm-hmm. We can drive around on the ground, and then when we need to, we can take to the air.
I think that was kind of, just to me, it was kind of like a cool factor of having motorcycles. I always like characters on motorcycles. we put in a little thing that the wing engines is what we call them, that they have a battery life to them, so they can't use them all the time. But I just like to kind of give you a background on these characters. I wondered, so many things change when you kind of come up with a concept to once you kind of work on them, start plotting it out, writing it out. So this originally kind of started as more of a campy book. And I wanted to kind of like mimic the Adam West Batman show. And then as we were working on these characters, I'm always interested in the duality of people. So, when I see some married couples, they just seem like bored of each other. I'm not saying everybody, but some married couples I know just seem very bored of each other. And they just start taking each other for granted. I wanted to kind of explore that part of it. Then I wanted to explore part of it that once they're in their outfits, they seem to be more excited and more attracted to each other than when they're out of their outfit. So as we're kind of plotting all this out, this starts coming to. Then when you start writing these characters, they kind of start taking a life of their own. So as you're writing them, it's kind of like, okay, well, this is how Falconet would respond to it. This is how Goshawk would respond to it. And they kind of start writing themselves a little bit. So it ends up being from a thing of where it was going to be campy. It's not really that campy anymore. It's a fun book, but it's just the characters just kind of took on their own thing as we were writing them.
Yeah, it's funny that you touch on that whole duality thing, how it's different in costume. That was one of the very interesting points that Alan Moore explored in Watchmen.
Yeah,
with the characters of Night Owl and Silk Spectre. Yeah. When they first started their relationship, it was like very awkward and he was not very performative. But boy, you put those costumes on and he became a man, and it worked for him.
By the way, props to you for mentioning Alan Moore, because he's my favorite writer by far in comics of all time. So the stuff he did in the 80s, and then as he grew, personally as a writer, it's just awesome. What like his work is just like, there's Alan Moore to me. I mean, listen, everybody has their own favorites or whatever, but like to me, Alan Moore is like the top, and then there's everybody else after that.
He knew how to take advantage of the form in telling comics. I mean, if you took an Alan Moore script and just read it as a script, it wouldn't be as impactful, because he knew how to handle the page turn. He knew how to handle transitions from one panel to a different scene, and it be the same. You don't know what the words are. The words could apply to the first panel, or they could apply to the second panel, because there was so much parallelism that he would employ in books that he did. I've left this page up here so much because I like the shot of that booty on the motorcycle, but we will have to progress here. Well, and come on, that's why it was drawn that way, guys. You know?
It was. There was that whole thing of suiting up, and yeah.
Now I did see, and I think it's in the video. I don't think there's a page here, but you talked about how they're one way out of costume and one way in costume, and it looked to me like Goshawk is eyeballing Arachna on the internet, and she's like, hey, look at me. I'm like, hey, you're over there, He
did something you should never do, is be eyeing somebody else when your woman comes in the room ready for to have some fun, and she sees Arachna on there. He makes up an excuse that it's like he's just doing research, but I'm always researching. I like comedy that comes out of situations. So I think that type of thing is funny when it's kind of just like, we're not trying to make these books ha funny, but like there's situations that the characters are put in that makes it fun or funny.
So I saw that, and now I'm like, now I want to see a fan sketch of Goshawk and Falconet and Arachna doing the whole distracted boyfriend meme where he's walking down the sidewalk and looking over his shoulder.
Yeah,
you've seen it thousands of times.
I might actually commission somebody to do that.
It's fun stuff. They'd have a villain, and surprise, surprise, the villain is also bird themed, King Vulture, which automatically makes me think related somehow to the origin of the characters. If you've got two birds who are superheroes and you're a villain who's a bird, you've got personal reasons for doing this. Is this an origin story of sorts for anybody, or is this in the middle of life of, Goshawk and Falconet?
No, I never liked origin stories. I like kind of throwing people right into the action and letting them figure it out. Like, when I was a kid reading comics, I didn't pick up Spider-Man 1. I picked up Spider-Man 181, and I just picked that up, and I don't care like how he came or whatever. You can do your own research after that. But like, basically, I think if you're, our readers are, people who have read comics and kind of know what comics. So I think they don't need that whole kind of refresher. What you can do is you can go back and kind of put things in here and there, let their imaginations fill in the rest. But this is something that just kind of you kind of thrown into them fighting crime. There's no origin story, but you do bring up an interesting fact about King Vulture is that he does know them. So who is he? That's a surprise, and I think people. I think it's going to set up future stories really well.
And I stopped here because you talked about the Batman 66
Yes.
death traps. This is
Yep.
a classic. This is a classic
Yep.
Adam West death trap, hanging upside down over the acid vat.
Yeah.
Because companies just leave open vats of acid laying around.
No, so
And
this is
not just
to
one.
me, this was so in the old days a comic would end here.
Yeah.
And you have to wait till like what the hell happened next month to see how she gets out of it. But here, this is a 54-page graphic novel. We kind of put this in right in the middle, and we'll have kind of like a thing of how is Falconet going to escape and stuff, and it'll just say go to the next page.
So this is going to be a complete story, then, not a.
Oh yeah, I love complete stories. There's not, Marty and I have talked about this. He wants to kind of put a lot of things that kind of we can put that in there, but like since the release schedule of these things are like once or twice a year, that people would completely forget what was going on. So it has to be a complete story.
Yeah, you until you get like a monthly schedule, you can't really play with the come back next month cliffhanger kind of thing.
Yeah. If you go up to that bulb page, I really love that bulb page because this is a Marty special here. He came up with this kind of idea of panels, but it's shards of glass.
Yeah.
I just love this page, and I just think it shows you how much work gets put into these things. It's not just like just keep putting panels in and stuff, but this is why I love comics, and this is why I'm not trying to make these characters to go into films or TV or whatever. I don't care about that. The medium of comics is you have a writer, you have an artist, you have a letterer, you have a colorist, and all that kind of stuff gets put together to make a page. And it's just like it's like you're making artwork with these things. So it's really cool.
And it's its own special medium. I mean, I had somebody ask me one time, says, why don't you just watch a movie of this kind of thing, because that's all it is. It's just a slower movie. And I had to sit down and do the whole Scott McCloud lesson on panels and what happens in between them, and psychological and how if you're reading it, you're using both sides of your brain. It's nothing. No other medium does it.
No, there's nothing like it. And one of the reasons why I love Alan Moore so much is that he respected this medium so much that he didn't want to make movies, or he didn't want to make whatever, and he felt like none of his work could be translated into movies or that type of thing. So he just loved the medium. I feel like I'm the same way. I'm trying to, we're a year into this thing. There's plenty more to learn. There's plenty more to do in terms of how do you make a better comic, or how do you tell a better story? There's a lot more to learn. So, that page I really like.
And very few people take this kind of advantage of what the medium has to offer. So many people, they're like, well, I've got a superhero story and we're going to tell it as a comic book, so draw the panels in sequence. It's sequential art. It's people like Alan Moore and the hidden tunnel through the Rorschach issue that he does with Rorschach panels, or Jimmy Gownley and the way he brings old panels from the beginning of the book back to the end of the book to show you a picture and a story that you didn't realize you had read the first time. Those guys know what they're doing with these panels and these pages, and it's less than 10%, I think, of the creators out there who can really know what it is they've got their hands on and what they can do with it.
I think a lot of them are trying to use it for stepping stones and other things, but like I like comics. I like making comics, and that's what I'm interested in, making characters that are fun, that are interesting, and and you can kind of forget about the world when you're reading it. It's escapism, which was what comics were to me at one point, but
exactly. I noticed it on the Indiegogo, which I flipped back over to now here. You got 9 days left. I'm assuming then that this is your first 30 days. Are you going to extend another 30?
No, I'm not going to do 30 extension. I'm just going to go into in-demand with it. That worked out fine last time for us too. Okay. Like I said, these things are very stressful. So I was, RJ, you've probably you've run campaigns, right? Like
I've got one running right now, and it's stressful because it's not going to where I want it to.
Yeah, like it's just a it's fun to see your projects do well, but at the same time, the 30 days that they run for are very, very stressful. So you just want to make sure that they're doing okay, and then you're hitting the refresh a lot on these screens and stuff.
Is that why you kicked them off simultaneously rather than the traditional?
Yeah, I wanted to do it together.
Kickstarter, migrate to Indiegogo.
Arachna 1 and 2 is like 60 days for both of them, and it gets like really. I think it gets. Arachna 2 was very, very nerve-wracking because you want to make sure that it was more than the first one, because you want to build an audience. Like, to me, right now, I said like it's not really important, like how much we make off these things, but one thing that is very important to me is that we build on whatever we had the last time. So Arachna 1 and 2 are kind of their own thing. I really wanted to make sure Arachna 2 we had more backers than 1. That was the main thing for me.
Yeah, you want to grow.
We ended up doing a lot better with the second one. This one is this one is its own thing. When the second part, volume 2 comes out, I'll be very nervous in terms of looking at that again to see how well that does. We're still new. Sometimes people have unrealistic expectations of where they want to go with it. But it's to me, it's going to take between 5 to 10 years to build a good tribe. So again, we're just like a year old at this point. So we're
Now, I will say, for potential backers out here, one thing that you're doing differently than a lot of other companies are doing, a lot of other creators are doing, in regards to your variant covers. I've seen, plenty of them that have got like, gosh, I saw one last night that had like, they went from cover A to cover B to cover like FF. They had so many of them, and they had the variants, and then they had the naughty variants, and they upcharged. You did not. You're like, here are all the covers. Pick the one you want. If it's the clean one, fine. If it's the not so clean one, great. Same price.
Yeah, because it didn't cost me anything more to publish them, so I don't think that should be. The only thing I'll charge more for is the chromium covers or the holograph covers, because
because there's a bigger production cost in it.
Yeah, but otherwise, no, that's not fair to like people to charge them more for that.
I've always thought that that was sort of this, I won't say unfair, but let's just say taking advantage of the hormonally repressed. Yeah. Like, I want the naked cover, so I'll spend the extra $10 sometimes more than the standard cost for the same book.
We get a good amount for between the naughty covers and non-naughty covers, but again, we're RJ, I can't stress enough. We're at the beginning of what we're trying to build here, right? So we're a year old. again, the thing to me is to create great comics where somebody would, if they purchased it, that they want to come back and purchase it again. Like that's to me is the important thing. So you have to make it a fun comic. I'm not into any kind of politics or anything like that. I don't take sides. I'm just not into picking sides or whatever. It's just we're going to build
a fun story for adult readers.
Yeah, we're going to build our own audience, and we're going to have fun doing it. So if it gets to the point where people aren't interested, then fine, we'll wrap it up. But at this point, a lot of people, I didn't get like one negative comment on Arachno 1. Everybody loved it.
It was a fun book.
I've got it. Yeah.
Yeah. I will say also that you didn't go overboard with the mature covers. A lot of times it's like 50-50 because this is the kind of book it really is. It's a boob book, guys. Yeah. That's why you're buying it. I get, the impression that this is not. This is a couple book doing actual crime fighting, and it just happens so often that people take a shower.
Part of that is like I'm so sick of like the political correctness and don't objectify this or that or whatever. That's more coming from that. Like there's nothing wrong with nudity. Listen, I went to art school. We used to draw naked models. There's nothing wrong with nudity. In the 80s or whatever, Europe, it's a completely different view of nudity.
Absolutely.
Here, it's like, it's like this kind of like this Puritan whatever. Or now
there's the violence they get upset about.
It's from Puritan to like you're a misogynist if you show nudity. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
But basically, it's we just want to have fun here. The book isn't about naked superheroes. The book is about telling like a really good adventure story, and you guys having fun reading it, and then hopefully you'll be back for more.
Yeah, these two digitally painted. I'm assuming it's digitally painted covers from Dalmos. These are just gorgeous. I think the second one here is the one that I put in my tier. Mm-hmm. But then these others are just like fun posed covers here. And one thing I love about Heroes with Wings and or Capes is that they're as big or as small as the scene requires. You've seen the pictures of Batman with his cape that's flowing out like 6 miles behind him. It's like he's gonna trip on that thing, but then he's like on the ground, like, oh no, it really is just to his ankles.
Yeah, I'll tell you a story about that. It was so regarding their wings, it was they kind of contract into this small cylinder that's on their backs, right? So Marty, who was trying to figure out like how do we make this like realistic or whatever. I said, look, Marty, I'm not interested in realism. These are comics, and just like let your imagination go with it. So they're these huge wings when they want to be, and they'll contract down in these small things. And we had to tell Daniel that also because he was trying to make it. See, this is how like things have changed where people try to like incorporate realism into this stuff, and they shouldn't. These are like fantasies. So I'm a big believer in just like letting your creativity fly on these things, and
exactly.
don't hold yourself back with realism and that bullshit, because Jack Kirby once said he loved comics because the only limitation he had was his imagination, or is a quote like that, right? And what Jack did was he wasn't like, oh, well, let's see if I try to make this realistic like this or whatever. No, he just freaking let his mind go. And don't. These are comics. Don't if you can think it, draw it. Don't hold yourself back on these type of things. Just
don't get hung up on the realism. I mean, in a real world, Peter Parker gets spider powers and then creates web fluids because he needs them because he didn't have natural web fluids in the original days, and then realizes, why am I taking pictures for the Daily Bugle for $5 an hour when I can sell this to 3M for like $1 billion, and because it's a temporary glue that dissolves after an hour. This is a patent. I should do this. The Flash, his big thing is he's a police scientist. He runs fast, but he needs to hide his costume. So as a hobby, for a couple of minutes, he finds a couple of gases that shrinks down clothing to fit in a ring, which would revolutionize the garment industry. But, I'm just doing it because I need a place to put my costume.
Yeah.
We didn't get hung up on
No,
how
I
it
think
worked or how it would impact anything else.
And again, I think it's because like people want to try to make movies that like costumes is another thing. Costumes to me are, oh well, these aren't realistic enough. Where like they wouldn't be wearing this in real life, and it's like, all right, let's take the Spider-Man thing. Guy climbs up walls, and now you're trying to put him in a realistic freaking outfit or whatever. Like,
yeah,
no, it's just fantasy, man. It's just like go let your mind loose and don't worry about all these like stupid things of I think Warren Ellis like really kind of made that like put like science behind it and stuff, and it's changed since then, I feel like. But just go have fun with it, man. Just like these are like it's fantasy. Like if you can think it, you should be able to put it on paper.
It can be science as long as you make up the science. I mean, Mark Millar. I keep trying to say Mark Millar, and I know it's just Mark Miller, and I end up making it sound weird. He just makes up science, and there's like, well, there's your scientific explanation. It's very Star Trekky.
Yeah.
These are the Daniel Pasquale alternate covers. Daniel's the one who is doing all the interior art. So if you like your exteriors to look like your interiors, that would be the one of those two to get. I like how Goshawk is really hiding himself behind her here because I can't see anything but his hands, and he's a big dude, so he's ducked down. Which the fact that he's doing that every other time I see him, he looks like a serious guy. He doesn't look like he's playful.
He's very serious. And the dynamic between Falconet's very kind of like energetic and just having fun. I think one of the covers that I think Richard did, where I think that kind of like that one where she's just like sticking her tongue out and he's like behind her, very serious. I think that's like one of those things where I think that's a good dynamic between the two. But you wanted to kind of play off like somebody who is very serious. He used to be, he made some money off of one of these, I believe it's Tesla or whatever. And, he's the one who designed these wings and stuff. So he's very serious, very brooding. And then you got this other girl who is just like, she's like a kind of like a Burt Ward Robin to the Adam West Batman, pretty much.
And it looks like she probably takes it out of him every now and then, just kind of punctures his pomposity.
I think we're gonna have fun with so his name is Baron, so we're gonna have some fun with him as things kind of move along. And then there's things we put into the first volume, which kind of gives some backstories into how these two met. And sometimes there's a part where King Vulture captures Falconet, and then you kind of see Baron and how he deals with that part of it. So there's definitely some vulnerabilities to him, and we'll explore more of those as we're going forward.
You have I've scrolled down here to the extras. Once you get out of the covers, you got the acrylic standees, and I'm just now seeing that these were just take the entire hook down, RJ. Great. 8 to 9 inches tall.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen acrylic standees that were like, maybe 6 inches tall.
I saw some small ones, but I looked into a bigger size because, like, if I want to like put them on my bookshelf or something like that, I want them to be a little bit bigger than.
Yeah. So I just measured. It's for those of you looking for scale. It's a beer bottle.
Yeah.
That's how tall these things are. That's insane. And are they going? I mean, are people backing them?
More people back the Arachno ones, but again, once the campaigns are done, we'll see what the totals are.
And then you got a mystery box. Now I like mystery boxes, but what have you got? Because you are still a new company. What kinds of things have you got that can go in here?
So you can get like first printings of Arachna in here, which are about to like go at this point. So I kept some. You can have you can have stuff from Arachna. You can have stuff from You can have stuff from Goshawk and Falconet, and then our third book, which is going to be called The Vindicators, and there's a character that is getting a lot of love on the Facebook and Instagram pages. Her name is Alice Brown, so there might be something thrown in of that as well. So
I'll have to go check all that out now. Because you did say there was a team book, and now I know it's the Vindicators. I'm like,
oh no, that's the
it's different.
Yeah, the team book is going to be a full team. It's a total of 8 characters.
Okay. Is that what's going to bring together characters that you've introduced individually here now?
No. I one of the things, RJ, I didn't like what comics were doing was these crossover things where you have to buy like 6 books to get a story.
Sure.
I want them self-contained. And yes, there could be like mentions of character like the Arachna in Goshawk and Falconet, but you don't need to pick up Arachna to understand the story of Goshawk Falconet. So that to me, I want to keep them self-contained. There might be mentions here or there of other characters, but these are standalone stories.
Well, like, with the old Justice League of America, I mean, they were all made of characters who had individual issues, but you didn't have to read their issues to enjoy, the team up.
I think we might do that with another team book that's coming out next year also, but right now it's going to be a different type of thing.
Okay.
It'll be
all new characters.
Pretty cool.
Most of the stretch goals here have been unlocked. This was for the first 100 physical backers. This is the Janet Jackson-esque. Is that really? Yeah, that was that cover.
That Rolling Stone cover. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a trading card. You can also get the you've unlocked the other trading card with the art by Dan. That's the stand. Oh, I think that's the standee art there, isn't it?
Yeah. Sticker.
Yeah, I love the die cut stickers. The two cheapy little stretch goals that I look for on campaigns, like die cut stickers and die cut refrigerator magnets.
Mm-hmm.
And I lean more towards magnets these days because I'm like, I had my entire laptop lid covered with stickers, and then my laptop died. I'm like, I can't refresh the laptop, and there go all my stickers.
There you go.
When the refrigerator dies, I take the magnets off.
For a refrigerator sticker.
Yeah, and I think you do have those down here too. So we got, you got the free the die cut Goshawk sticker for the first 200 backers unlocked, and here is, of course, now this says Goshawk. This is not Goshawk. This is
sorry,
King.
that should say King Vulture. Yeah.
So we're into the. Now this one's not. That one's not unlocked yet.
No, that's unlocked.
Oh, it is unlocked. Okay, my white on white. I kind of lost the words there. So these are sketch cards. Now these are prints of sketch cards, right? I mean, he's not going to sketch each card for everybody.
No,
right?
no, these are prints. Yeah.
Okay. Because I've had people I've fulfilled for do that, and it took a while to get things in. And that is the last one on that one. And by the way, folks, if you're interested in this, the link for the Indiegogo campaign is right below the video. I wasn't aware before kicking it off that it was running both, so I will add the Kickstarter if you're a Kickstarter person, Kickstarter loyalist. You want to give your money that way. So they'll both be here later tonight under the video. I'll do the edits. So we know that this is set in the world of Arachna, but other than him looking at her on his internet screen, how do we know that it's set in the world of Arachna?
That's the internet screen is like your first hint of it. We're kind of just built. So the third book, which is Vindicators, that's going to be in the Old West. So it's in the same universe, but it's in a different timeline. So it's, I don't know if you ever saw the Wild Wild West, but
I love the Wild West. Artemis Gordon and James West. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and the Avengers with Steed and Peel. So I love that dynamic between like partners, like, and there's going to be a little $6 million man thrown in there as well. So, but I just love that Wild Wild West show. And it's kind of like building it out. You're going to start seeing these guys aren't really superheroes. They have the technology stuff like wings and stuff, but they don't have any like heightened strength or anything like that like Arachna does. So
right. They're just people.
Yeah, it'd be like just people who are
Iron Man.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, he's just very smart, and he's created this thing, and he's got the money to do so. So as we kind of move forward, as we add teams and stuff, it's going to start building it out. But these guys are on the left. I call it the left coast. On California, Arachna is based in New York. So there's not a whole lot between them. Arachna is just kind of debuted, so she's starting to get some, notoriety, attention, and then these guys, same thing. It's just kind of building out at this point.
Superpowers always hit the high population center. You never get a guy in Omaha who is...
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get one with us anytime soon because
exactly.
I'm near the city, so it's. I always like Arachna 2 is in the jungle, and it's really weird looking at her, even though she's 1 issue old. That character belongs in like concrete and buildings and stuff like that, right? When you see her in jungle, it's kind of like a strange thing, but it's. It feels like she should be, like she belongs in the city. And same thing with these guys. I think they're going to belong in Los Angeles. Like that's their kind of thing.
But there can be an attraction, as a one-off to see him and to seeing a character out of their element like that.
Well, that's one of my true story. Like she's completely out of her element and in somebody else's element. Like that's his like island, and he's set up traps. He's done everything.
Like World's Most Dangerous Game.
Yeah, it's called The Most Dangerous Game. It's actually based on that movie where he hunted animals. Then he started getting bored of animals, started hunting humans, and now he's hunting superhumans. And basically, it's just the challenge of the hunt that is important to him. And you'll see that in Arachna 2, where she's just completely out of her element. There's a little bit of Groundhog Day in there, Edge of Tomorrow type thing, where she keeps getting beaten up, but she keeps learning every time she gets beat up. Part of that is like the training that Jiho's given her on his own. So yeah, it's going to be that is a character out of its element in the second one. And man, I'll tell you, I've been looking at the pages that Carlos has been sending, and she's getting a beating in the second book. So it's like, if you thought Miko beat her up bad in the first book, she's getting a real. It's tough on poor Arachna in the second book.
All right. Well, we have reached the top of the hour. Is there anything about Goshawk and Falconet that I didn't get to ask how you came up with their names?
I wanted to make them I just want to make them kind of like fun. Like, sometimes people are like, oh, we're just going to make it serious and blah, blah, blah. It's just like, I just wanted to kind of give it kind of the comic flavor. Like, if you didn't know anything about Batman and Robin, like, these are characters that are really old, but the first time you hear about them, it's like Batman and Robin. Like, what the hell's that? Like, so this is kind of the same thing. It's like Goshawk and Falconet, and it was a bird theme type thing. So we looked at a lot of falcons and a lot of names that were falcons and stuff, and we just kind of came up with those 2 names.
Yeah, and it works. They're great looking designs. I love the color schemes. They complement each other, even though they're different color schemes.
Yeah, shout out to Tier, who is our character designer. And he just does a wonderful job in designing these things. So King Vulture design is also I really love. It's very sleek and it's just kind of like black and white, but there's a sinisterness to that look that he's got.
Yeah, he sort of carries around a cloud of shadow with him whenever you see him. It's like, you're standing under a light. How come I can't see you?
Yeah,
just that kind of an image to him. All right. AI, thank you so much for bringing Goshawk and Falconet on here and for welcoming us once again into the expanding world of Arachna. X53?
X53 Studios, yep.
I was going to say that. I was like, oh, I know I've got either the letter or the number wrong on that one. So maybe I'll back off. But the growing X53 universe, still ground floor kind of level here, folks. If you want to get in on something big, the links are right below the video in the description. So click on that, throw up money. You got 22 days to go on Kickstarter, 9 days to go on Indiegogo. So, pick your poison. Folks in the chat, thank you so much for being here tonight. We do appreciate you coming in to listen. We're just a podcast falling in the woods without you, so we are appreciative of you being here. And as always, while you were here, we just hope you had a blast. Good night.
Thanks, RJ.